iHeartRadio app. Pick a song, a playlist, an artist, or even a podcast, and immerse yourself in your own personal getaway space. Sometimes you just need to tune out the world. So tune in to iHeartRadio. Download or open the free iHeartRadio app today.
All right, no more cursing.
Welcome to Zip Poll USA, the polling app that lets you tell the nation what you think. Download the Zip app today. It's Tuesday, October 3rd. Beyonce sent Lady Gaga an Ivy Park sweatshirt and flowers to help comfort the singer while she deals with chronic pain, and she's dealing with fibromyalgia. Was there a hidden motive here? I hope not. 72% of women think it's Beyonce being a really good friend, and 53% of men agree. The remainder, though, are a little bit suspicious and think that there's a hidden motive here for sure. And why do you think that Kylie Jenner isn't confirming or denying her pregnancy? 59% of people say she is waiting on a payout to release the information. The other 41% say that this pregnancy is fake news indeed. Answer all of life's opinion-based questions with just one swipe. Download Zip, the polling app that lets you tell the nation what you think. In the App Store, it's free and 100% anonymous.
I haven't really looked, honestly. I don't know.
You think everyone's watching that show with the girl and the dragons and the game and the throne. But just like the show, that's fantasy. More people in America listen to the radio than watch that throne show. It's true. Radio reaches 93% of Americans each week. That's more than TV, Facebook, and Google. Put that in your dragon and smoke it. Radio reaches more adults, teens, and even millennials. So if you're a marketer, get the most out of your marketing dollar. Talk to the folks who dethrone TV. Go to iHeartMedia.com for the one place you can reach everybody. AM, FM radio.
From baking to dinners with friends, why do the best things in life create so many dirty dishes? Forget the mess. Finish Quantum gives you an unbeatable clean. And now, Finish Quantum also gives you 25% more loads per pack than Cascade Platinum. So bring on more baked-on lasagna. Good stuff.
Look, 45 seconds.
All right. And save
30 now.
20
now. The wrong button.
Pick it up in
10 now.
10 now. I can't handle the pressure. That's it. I'm out of here.
I'm leaving.
Suppose
Jerry,
Thomas
you got
Edison
this.
had given up.
I got
the
what?
best of.
The whole show, I'm just leaving.
No, you're not.
But his failures only led him to the next.
It's the Derry Show.
They hate me. The producer hates me. My boss hates me. Everybody hates me.
Come on. Optimism. Pass it on from the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com.
Where's the dunk? We don't have the dunk today?
Not yet. He'll be back tomorrow.
Oh, give me the dunk. Give me the dunk.
Duncan Holder on a Tuesday, October 3rd. Jeff is still trying to
I want the dunk.
reacclimate himself. Humanity misses him, apparently, so we've got Jim Derry for
Give me the dunk.
at least in our studio, in our NOLA.com Thomas Picayune studio at the foot of Canal Street for one more day, even though he'll be back on the show Thursday to do his prep roundup. So
Who's this clown on the show? I can't stand listening to this guy. Get him off of there.
Do you realize that no matter who's on this show, just the two names on the marquee receive that reaction? It's just what it is. So
I'm now
you'll be
getting
all right.
emails from people telling me how dumb I am.
That's not new.
From non-prep fans.
That's
from
not
NFL
new.
fans telling me how dumb I am.
Well, they feel like you better give Jake Cutler a little more respect. Just because the Dolphins are the 32nd best offense in the NFL, give Jake Cutler
I don't
his
want to
respect.
play anymore. You guys stink.
That voice is awful. Can we ban that voice? I think we should. Well,
Starting tomorrow, you can.
I can tell you, someone else's voice are making people scream and go bonkers. And, of course, that's LSU head football coach Ed Orgeron. He had his Monday press conference right after the show yesterday. We'll have some sound from that, some reactions. And I got to say, our own Andrew Lopez, I guess Ed Orgeron has the blinders on of a thoroughbred, because apparently he didn't know that he was under fire. So our own Andrew Lopez informed him that the public
He doesn't know.
Has him under fire, and
He doesn't read anything.
Wants him fired. We'll have that reaction to that. So and he even thanked Andrew for informing him of that. So
Just like every NFL, college, high school coach across the entire country, they don't read the media. They don't read. They don't watch TV. They don't listen. They don't go on social media. None of this. They have no idea what we're saying about them.
Everybody reads everything,
exactly.
As you know, in this social media age, of course. But we'll have some of what Ed Orgeron had to say, and columnists, local, nationally, have very much under fire, and even more so, his boss, Joe Oliva, very much under fire. We're going to have a local perspective. We'll have our own Ron Higgins, LSU and SEC columnist from NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune. He will join us top of the 11 o'clock hour. And then Yahoo Sports national college columnist, Pete Thamel. He's the first one nationally to really tee off on O and Oliva. We'll have him on around 10:30 because, look, even his colleague at Yahoo, Dan Wetzel, CBSSports.com's Dennis Dodd, has all come and attacked LSU, the football program, where it is, where it's going. None of it's good. None of it.
So what you're saying is this is not going to be a feel-good Tuesday?
Probably not. We've got all week to dabble into what the Saints have done.
You
well.
have all week. Why do I get the negative Nelly stuff? I'm like the most positive guy you'll ever meet.
Are you on some sort of hallucinogen? Because that's not true either. That's totally not true.
I'm happy, joy all the time, 24/7. Ask my wife.
Ask Dave, our producer. You're not 24/7.
Dave hates me.
See, you're not.
Hate is such a strong word. Strongly dislike, maybe?
All right, I'll take strongly dislike. That's better.
And we will also have in the 11 o'clock hour Sean Kelly, Pelicans radio play-by-play voice. The Pelicans' first preseason game is tonight in the Smoothie King Center. They take on the Bulls. It's their only home preseason game. And look, they start up in a couple of weeks, and they're ready, and they're going to be rocking and rolling. It kind of feels that way. Well, the NBA has kept themselves so much in the news this offseason, probably more so than I can remember, that it's probably good for the league that you have all these players moving all over the place.
Look, I am not a huge NBA fan. I do watch it, but I'm not a huge NBA fan. But I will say this. The NBA does a better job at marketing than any other league out there by far, hands down. They make themselves relevant 12 months out of the year, just about every day.
I don't know if they make themselves relevant every day for 12 months of the year. I think they're starting to get better at it.
It didn't used to be that way.
No. Well, the NFL didn't either.
I don't think Adam Silver's done an excellent job.
Well, I think he has. When he's taken over as commissioner, he has certainly done some things to help improve the game. Now, that one thing being said, you still got to wonder, when are they going to make players play all the time and pretend like they're not hurt?
That's a different story.
Exactly, but that's probably one of the bigger issues
they're
got to deal with.
It looks like they're trying to do that, at least make the teams that stink at the end, they're trying to make them play. So
absolutely,
that's a step in the right direction.
But yeah, we will talk with Sean Kelly about the Pelicans, who's going to be starting at the 3 spot. You know, the other 4 starters already: Rajon Rondo, Drew Holiday, DeMarcus Cousins, and Anthony Davis. And
Anthony who?
Yeah, you heard of him?
He's all right.
He's our little plush doll here. If you could see it on YouTube, he's sitting right in front of you. Don't mess with him. He'll give you the voodoo. So don't mess with him.
I'm not messing with him.
Yeah, but later on in the week, we'll dive a little more heavier into the Saints because Jeff Duncan will be back tomorrow. I want to get his perspectives on his European workcation. I guess we won't call it vacation.
Workcation.
Well, he worked pretty hard on that Thomas Morstead story.
He did.
And he did. Look, that's a grind trip. So now if you stay later, like one of our other colleagues, he gets to stay a little later and play while, we get to come here and just say, hey, the Saints are 2-2 and sunshine and roses, right? Sunshine and roses.
Happy, joy.
See, that was yesterday for 1 hour. That's all we're going to get.
Well, can we at least get like 15 minutes of happy, joy today?
Well, I've got a stat
I'm sad.
I got a stat that's not going to make you happy, though, that I'm going to be writing later on today, and including I'm going to have a 10-ish takeaways on the first quarter of the season, looking back and looking forward to what the Saints have done and what they could do.
The Saints are going 14-2, buddy. 14-2.
Didn't you already tell me that if
I was hanging out with Abdul, the tent maker, last night.
If that happens, you lose some friendly bets to some friendly people, non-bookie types?
Is that legal? Is it legal to do that?
If it's among a friend, right?
Oh, well, if it's legal, then yeah, I did it.
I don't know what's legal and what's not anymore.
If it's not legal, I didn't do it.
I don't know. I don't even know why fantasy football, the daily leagues, aren't legal here. I don't know why.
Because
a weird
we're Louisiana and we're back something words and everything.
Back posterior words.
Back derriere words.
Oh. I'm assuming someone has written an email to you once or twice.
Never.
Referring to that, I'm sure.
No, I mean, we could spend a whole show on my nicknames.
I'm sure we could. But why don't we take a break right here because we've got plenty of audio from Ed Orgeron. I want to hear what he has to say before we get to our guest. Look, Pete Thamel's going to be on about 10:30. Yahoo Sports National College columnist Ron Higgins, our own LSU SEC columnist, top of the 11 o'clock hour. And if we got some open segments, we will take your phone calls. 504-260-1280 is the number to get involved here on Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. Jim Darien, one more day, at least this week, for the dunk.
I'm sad.
You're going to miss this. And I'm, of course, Larry Holder. And we're all done with Holder.
Action-packed.
He's at the 5, cuts back in, he's in the end zone, Alcalon, he's got it in the end zone, touchdown Tulane.
Hard hit.
Running left side on the Aruna,
He's like, man, you need a break. I'm like, well, fine, I don't know where I'm going to find one.
Tulane football. The Wave welcome the Tulsa Golden Hurricanes
Who's going to do the
Yulman
show?
Stadium. Saturday, October 7th, right
Jeff
here
and who?
on your home for Tulane football.
Done it plenty.
Sports
Make Herbie do it.
New Orleans.
Well, you make that call. You're the
I already
boss.
told you I'll fill in whenever you want.
You can throw me off the show.
Take it. They can take your paycheck and bank accounts too. Even threaten your home or business. And it's about to get worse. The IRS just hired an army of new tax enforcers. So, if you owe back taxes, the smartest thing you can do is call Optima Tax Relief. Optima has access to a special IRS tax assistance program called the Fresh Start Initiative. And their clients that qualify are saving thousands, even tens of thousands. One call starts the process to stop the demand letters, stop aggressive collection actions, and stop that army of new enforcers from targeting you. But don't delay. It's important to act now while you still have options. Optima is A-rated with the Better Business Bureau. Optima has already resolved over $500 million of tax debt for their clients. Get your life back. Call now for your free consultation.
Call 800-798-2477. That's 800-798-2477. 800-798-2477.
Optima Tax Relief.
I'll have Happy Joe tomorrow. I'll get the graph
You
on.
think
We'll
everyone's
talk
watching
Tulane,
that
Tulsa.
show with the girl
That
and the
actually is
dragons and the
happy,
game and
yeah.
the throne. But just like the show, that's fantasy. More people in America listen to the radio than watch that
Tulsa
throne
always
show.
rips
It's
them.
true. Radio reaches 93% of Americans each week.
always
That's more than
rips
TV, Facebook, and Google. Put that in your dragon and smoke it. Radio reaches more adults, teens, and even millennials. So if you're a marketer, get the most out of your marketing dollar. Talk to the folks who dethrone TV. Go to iHeartMedia.com for the one place you can reach everybody. AM, FM radio.
Ever feel like the universe is trying to tell you something?
30 seconds.
It really is.
You've been chosen to save the world.
Oh, okay. Cool.
How am I supposed to save the world? By putting others before yourself. Helping those in need.
Change yourself.
You're seeing the world through new eyes.
Change the world.
I feel like I'm getting a second chance.
One of Entertainment Weekly's must-watch new shows, Kevin Probably Saves the World. Series premiere tonight, 10/9 Central on ABC.
This is Dunk and Holder on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Jim, I think this is a subliminal message to you.
Yeah,
you're going to say goodbye, and we're going to say hello.
Dave is the best at sending subliminal messages, except I always get it. So.
Sometimes
and
they're
I'm
not
the smartest
subliminal.
Cookie in the cookie jar, so they're not that subliminal.
No,
exactly.
they're kind of in your face.
They're pretty obvious. Get out of here, Derry.
Hey, well, some people aren't as annoyed with your voice as they are with Coach O's voice at this rate. So I think anything that he says, people just want to, just go hide in a corner and weep at this rate.
I don't know who's running the ball.
Well, Joe Oliva doesn't know what the hell's going on either. And look, if
play this week,
if O's catching fire, Oliva's catching just as much and even more fire, especially nationally, that people are going bonkers. But let's hear what Coach O had to say in his press conference yesterday. Again, before we get to a couple of guests who have columns saying how much of a basic dumpster fire LSU football has become. And oh, by the way, they play Florida at Florida this week, and the rest of their games are SEC games. So yeah, not a good sign. But of course, LSU lost to Troy.
Florida's in the SEC.
They're still there.
Oh, okay.
They're still their SEC record the last couple of years is better than you think. They might not look good. They somehow win games. Pretty good. They somehow still win games.
They're like the Bills. Nobody's given them any respect yet.
Well, the Bills don't deserve any respect yet.
Oh, here we go.
They're 3-1. Here we go. But anywho, let's hear what. I just want to. We got to dissect with all the. It's the next bite is about the highs and lows of LSU football in that game. And
did you bring the interpreter?
Listen, you don't need to hear it. The interpreter. Listen to how many negatives and how few positives there are in Coach O's eyes. So let's hear what he had to say about after watching the film. About the highs and lows from that game.
We spent the last 2 days finding the fixable problems and starting to fix them. And obviously we're disappointed in our play. So here's some of the things that we found on offense. Ball security, 4 turnovers. Third down execution, 0 of 8, whether it be protection, route running, passes. Combination of all of them. Must-finish drives. Overall execution had critical mistakes by all units at different times that were pivotal. On defense, get off the field on third down. They were 10 of 18. We need to fit the run better. There was a couple of misfits there for some long runs. Fit perimeter screens on special team. Improve our field goal kicking. And eliminate the 2 penalties. Positive for the game. I thought Christian Lockenshore played his best game. He had 2 sacks, several tackles, was all over the field. Got us wearing 18, his 5th year of eligibility, a senior, means a lot to him, and also Greg Gilmore.
Those were the 2 positives. He mentioned 2 players.
Lockenshore good, but
he mentions 2 players. So he basically says ball security, third down on both sides, must finish drives, critical mistakes by all units, and the special team stinks. You know what that says? Everything stinks, all of it.
You know what the problem is? We have a Canadian and an offensive coordinator trying to play American football.
Oh, boy. That's why it's time for Jim Derry to go. Just kidding.
It's been a long week.
It has been a long week.
No, sir. In all seriousness, look, you can't, they didn't have Darius Geis. Darrell Williams got hurt. It affects the running game. He's playing this 2-quarterback system. It's a recipe for disaster. So I will try to bring some, and I'm not the most positive guy. I was just joking earlier. We all know that. But I think that there is a chance that they can turn something around. I mean, they're not going to beat Alabama. But if they get Geis back and Coach O realizes they can't do this 2-quarterback system and he instills in them some sort of confidence and the defense figures out how to play like they played in week 1, it could still be an 8-4 season or a 7-5 season, which is not what LSU fans want, but I'm not going to go into what I went into yesterday when they already had a coach that won 9 or 10 games a year every year. But it is what it is now. So you have to figure it out, and you have to hope that the coach that they have now can motivate them, and because they have the talent. There's no question in my mind they have the talent.
Well, it looks like Darius Geis is still questionable. That's what O said yesterday. It sounds like Rashard Lawrence from their defensive line.
Which is a huge...
Yeah, that he's going to be back, which is obviously a positive going into Florida. But the big question that people are still wanting to know is, how do you not know what's going on the offense? And then you say you make the calls, then Matt Canada says he makes the calls. It's someone's offense. Whose offense is it? I have no earthly idea. But how do they fix the offense? And is there an issue among the coaches?
Well,
a lot of people ask me that question. It does look like we've played.
My bad.
You good?
We feel that we practiced with energy. There was a lot of energy in the locker room. But I think that, we have a saying, big plays fuel emotion. And, we go out there and we fumble the play on the first snap. And they score a touchdown. I think that took the air out of us. So that's my job. Now, that's one of my strengths. So I think that you're going to see a team very fired up to play this week, and hopefully we can continue to do that and improve in that area.
And now you look at where they go offensively. Let's see what Coach O had to say on where does the offense go from here.
You know, that's totally up to Matt, and I'm going to leave that totally up to him. And again, I will say this. I stepped in last time for the first time and wanted to simplify things in order for us to have less penalties, better execution. At halftime, he felt like he needed to shift and motion more, which he did. And that's totally his option, and this is totally his offense.
So after the game, he makes all the calls.
Right.
Now, 2 days later, it's Matt Canada's offense, but he's meddling, and then they change course.
No, he said he meddled.
But he's not going to do it anymore? Sure. Right. He's not going to meddle anymore.
He's not going to meddle if they're winning.
Sure, right. Well, they haven't been winning a lot, so what else is there to do? I think there is certainly some sort of disconnect there because
no question.
Because what's the offense? It's the new style is ships and misdirection, and you try to simplify that. And LSU without some of their you don't have Darius Geis and you don't have Darrell Williams, and you're not the same team.
Why would you try to simplify things? There's a reason, and there's no doubt in my mind it's because he wants to get Miles Brennan more involved, and you don't need to simplify things for a senior quarterback. So that's Coach O's call. He said, I want to simplify things. So if you're going to let your offensive coordinator do what he wants to do, I'd be willing to bet if you could sit down at a bar stool with Matt Canada and put a couple beers in him and just chat and have him feel like you're really off the record, he would tell you that I wish Danny Etling would just stay in there all game.
I'm sure, because we've seen it time and time and time again. And it's not one thing that, you want to get Miles Brennan some experience in a game where you should be winning. They're down big, and you're making a quarterback change. That is not even close to the same thing.
And you're throwing this freshman to the fire, and he's throwing picks and doing silly things that freshmen do because they don't get enough reps during the week because they're not the number one quarterback. Meanwhile, you got your number one quarterback looking over his shoulder, wondering when he's going to get yanked. And it doesn't I don't know how many times I can say this. We said it yesterday. We both said the same thing yesterday. It doesn't work.
Well, Coach O was asked about what are they going to do
call.
And what are they going to do at quarterback. Let's see what he had to say.
You know, Danny's our starter, and he is our starter. Hopefully we can go 4 quarters with him in a very big football game. We have never planned to play Miles in one of the SEC games just to throw him in there. We'll just prepare Miles in case Danny got hurt, that he would have some snaps that he can go in there and perform. And I think he's performed pretty well.
We hope we can go 4 quarters with him. I don't see. Yeah, I'm with you. I could see this thing going to where if Etling struggles at Florida and they make a change the next week, they've put themselves in this position. And now I don't see any way to. The only way I see this getting out of this trouble is actually playing Miles Brennan going forward.
Wow.
Because after this season, look, as much as people want Coach O out, no one is going to get him out after this year. And Miles Brennan is your future. If this season is mediocre at best,
if they're mediocre, you can't get him out. If they're 3-8, I disagree.
Well, if they really go in the tank. I mean, if you win one more game this year and that's it, people might start. Shaq might come up with a check and might write it and go. But
yeah,
I don't know.
Somebody would.
You would. They've got enough money. They owe Les Miles. They're going to pay to and then pay a new coach.
They don't care. You put too much emphasis on money. You don't realize how much money is out there. I think money is talked about when you're talking about a program like this, which is why it disturbs me even more. And I guess more as an alum than a media guy. But why didn't you just spend the dang time and do your due diligence? And if you're going to get rid of a guy who's winning 9 or 10 games a year, then either go get some big name coach like you talked about yesterday, and I hate to say, God, Chip Kelly, really.
Chip Kelly, Bob Stoops.
Oh, or go get some young and up-and-coming coach that's ready to take the next step and take. If you're going to gamble on that.
I'd gamble young as opposed to old. Right.
Right. I'm not calling Coach O old because I don't think he's old.
I'd gamble P.J. Fleck, someone like that. Someone who went from one step doing well at Minnesota and then take the next step.
I don't care. There's a handful of names that you could throw out there. But
what about Tom Herman? Can they go get him? Is he upset at Texas? He leave there. Go to LSU.
Yeah, that worked out for them, didn't it?
Well, Texas that's the thing. Here's
they wanted him so bad, and then he kind of hosed LSU, and where is he at?
Here's where LSU is going right now, and they're stuck. They're going to become Texas, less relevant. Yep. They're becoming.
When you're talking about football, I mean, you can be bad and go 7-4 in the Big 12, and play in a fairly decent bowl. Whereas in the SEC, if you stink in the SEC, you'll be lucky to go 5-6 or 5-7 or whatever the heck, however many games they play now.
Well, the thing is, Texas used to be above that. Like Oklahoma is above that Big 12 stereotype. For now. And they still are right now, but they're above that. Texas used to be above that. Now Texas is just lumped in with maybe Oklahoma State could be good this year, or maybe Texas could be good this year. And that's not what the expectation is for LSU.
When it comes down to it, though.
They should be good every year. LSU should be good every year.
Oklahoma's not a realistic national championship contender. So, I mean.
Why not? This year?
Look, and no offense, I hope Tulane wins the rest of their games. But when you hang with Tulane for a half.
But it was 56-14. It's not like LSU hung with Troy for a half and then they lose. I mean, Oklahoma steamrolled
far
them.
Thing from national. You're talking about programs that are on a different level. LSU was there, and they're nowhere near there, and they're not going to be back there anytime soon.
Well, LSU wasn't thought to be on the bottom like 3 weeks ago. This is the problem now.
I'm saying they're like in the middle mediocre pack, but they're headed towards the bottom if they don't change things real fast and get a grip on things.
How is that possible? Even if you fire Joe Oliva, how is that possible? You're still stuck with O.
You got to start somewhere. They're sliding down a really steep slope right now, and it's icy, and they better figure out a way to dig their heels in and turn things around. I don't know the answers, but I don't get paid for that.
Well, yeah, we do. We get paid we have all the answers, right? You and me.
Well, yeah, I have every answer there ever was.
I don't know if it's the right answer, but yeah, you have an answer to some of the questions.
I live in a house with 3 other females. You think I have any answers for anything?
That's why you're so angry and bitter, Jim.
No, I'm happy. Happy, joy.
You sound it. Why don't we take a break right here, and when we get back,
I'm sad.
We will go to Pete Thamel, national college writer for Yahoo Sports. First one to really take the swipe at Coach O and Joe Oliva after the Troy loss. We'll have him on. Then we'll have Ron Higgins on top of the 11 o'clock hour. And it's not feeling good up in Baton Rouge, and it won't be for a while. How long will it be? I don't know. We'll see.
Just listen to Elton. You'll figure it out.
There we go. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, the iHeartRadio app. Jim Derry and Larry Holder. Today, we're Duncan Holder.
Your forecast on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
This report is brought to you.
Goodbye, Yellow Brick Gary.
From the Fox 8 Weather Center.
We're gonna hear today's gonna be Goodbye Tuesday. Nothing but goodbye songs all day long.
And a mix of sun and clouds, becoming more sunny during the afternoon.
All right, I'm calling Pete.
Yep.
I'm into the mid-80s, and temperatures will fall into the upper 60s on the North Shore tonight.
That's for you,
low
YouTube.
70.
Don't drink beer in the studios.
That's for you,
Center, I'm
YouTube.
meteorologist Shelby Latino. Have a great day.
They'll have it on.
It's 3 p.m.
Saints. Yeah.
School's out for America's kids. And when school's out, clubs are in. It's time to support the Boys and Girls Clubs. Visit greatfutures.org.
For over 80 years, in the heart of Mid-City, where it's always been, is a New Orleans tradition. Mandina's Restaurant. Come in for some New Orleans staples. Old-style New Orleans food. Atmosphere.
Look,
and some of the best seafood in the city. Always New Orleans.
We like free food more than we like it. Well, some of us
Always Mandina's.
I definitely do.
I bet you didn't know this. Broadcast radio reaches more people in America than TV. Yeah, AM.
I might not take all the gifts.
All right, cool.
Free in your car, your kitchen, your office. Broadcast radio reaches more adults, teens, and millennials. More of everyone. More shoppers. Broadcast radio reaches 93% of Americans every week. That's bigger than TV, Facebook, and Google. If you're a marketer who needs to reach new fans, visit iHeartMedia.com for the one place everyone is listening. AM/FM radio.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
I know too many damn songs.
Or pack to the Audubon Zoo for just $38.
You got a sheltered
Check out the
youth,
exotic
didn't
mix
you?
of animals from around the
I was a vocal major in college. Look at
mysterious white alligators. Go to Fox Sports AM.
Yeah, it got me nowhere in life.
Keyword
Yeah,
deals.
so did the anything LSU thing. Got me nowhere.
It's your home. This is where you talk the home teams. Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Welcome back, Dunk and Holder.
Wow.
There's no subliminal message. Well, this could be to either you, Jim Derry, because when Jeff comes back tomorrow, it's goodbye to you. Or is it to Coach O? Or is it to Joe Oliva? Hey, it could be to any of them. So
Dave has been waiting to get rid of me for a week.
Well, people looking to get rid of O and Oliva both in one fell swoop. Who knows if that's going to happen? Only 5 games into the O era, and first national columnist to really come out and get some spitfire and venom for the LSU fans after the LSU-Troy game on Saturday night. It was Pete Thamel of Yahoo Sports. He's been on our show once before. Did not have too many kind words. At that point, this was before the season for Coach O and Joe Oliva, and his column, what's wrong with the LSU Tigers? Quote, they're soft.
He's just mean.
No, yeah, he's just mean.
He's mean.
Exactly. Or he's just watching it with his own eyes, and the people he's talking to watching with his own eyes, and it's not. But Pete, boy, none of us saw this coming. I know you questioned the Coach O hiring, rightfully so, but I don't think any of us saw this coming. Just your initial reaction to when you saw the ticker, LSU 21, Troy 24, and it's hellfire and brimstone up in Baton Rouge now.
Oh, I didn't just see it on the ticker there. I watched most of the game. I mean,
poor fella.
I would not say that I saw it coming per se, but
Yes.
once it was 7-0 in the first quarter, and if you watched a couple possessions of that game, once LSU went down, I remember it was 10-0. I think it was 10-0. They were on 7-0 for most of the first, and I was sitting there thinking they have no chance of winning this game. I mean, they got completely ragdolled in the trenches. I'd say it was unbelievable, but I'd reported out most of that column last week, and I never wrote it because of the pesky little federal authorities got into college basketball and kind of uprooted that world. And I mean, it was coach after coach and scout after scout, and they just kept coming up with the words like soft. They don't play hard. They don't run to the ball. It transcended just like bad football. It spoke to a bad culture. And at the end of the day, Larry, if you're Ed Orgeron, you are not an X's and O's genius. You are not a program architect. You are a recruiter and a motivator. Their recruiting hadn't been very good. Their retention has been very poor. And they clearly aren't motivated right now. So what are you bringing to the head coaching chair?
Pete, you thought Coach O came in and this was not obviously the best hire. And you could look at the track record of the AD, and he hasn't exactly done stellar work making hires. He's on his third basketball coach. You could look at the Les Miles debacle, wanting to fire him, keeping him, then coming back, keeping him for a couple games, firing him, and even the hiring process. Coach O is one problem, but everybody, I think, understands that Joe Oliva has done a poor job. What do you think are the possibilities that, and you alluded into your column that, look, Nebraska got rid of their AD. Do you think that there's a realistic possibility that LSU could say enough's enough with Joe Oliva?
Yeah. Oh, no question. I mean, it's stunning to me that it hasn't happened already, to be honest with you guys. LSU has entered that, like, bizarro SEC vortex where everyone in the SEC is just rooting for Oliva to keep going and rooting for Coach O to keep going because LSU should be a monster program. And right now it's a mouse. And it's not a monster program because they've had a really incompetent athletic director in charge for a very long time. And that incompetent athletic director has undermined the potential of those programs through poor leadership and bad hires. The buyout has gotten a lot of attention this week. If they fired Ed after the season, it could be like $8.5 million, which would be like $17.5 million that they'd owe to coaches not working because I think they had to pay less or are paying less, about $9 million for him to go away. And when you look at that, especially, again, I'm not an expert on state budgets in Louisiana, but I know that there hasn't exactly been a fiscal surplus in your state. And you just look at that, like, gross mismanagement. And to give Ed Orgeron that kind of contract was just, I mean, it's almost like malpractice. Like Huey Long negotiated that deal from the LSU side and got a kickback from it. I mean, it makes no sense. And so right now, the entire country is laughing at LSU because they are so backwards and so behind, and they are stuck in such a precarious position, and there's really no easy way out of it.
So, Pete, Jim Derry here. What do you do to fix? I mean, you said there's no easy way out. What would you do to fix it? What is the immediate? There's no immediate solution, but what is the next step?
Yeah. Well, you have the rest of the season to play out, and I mean, honestly, like, they've lost hope, right? Like, if you're an LSU fan right now, what are you clinging to? And if the trend continues this year and they look listless and they look emotionless and they look poorly led and poorly coached, you have a really hard decision to make because you then spend a recruiting cycle getting beat up and then an entire off season getting beat up, and then all of a sudden you lose another game early in September next year, and then you got to fire Ed Orgeron, and then you're behind. So, I mean, there are some very difficult decisions to make, and in Oliva's defense, like the people above him, and again, I don't know the nuances of like the way possible over the last 3 or 4 years to get to this point. So it's not like there's shrewd people who are going to have to hire a new athletic director. And if I'm a really good athletic director, I'm skeptical of that job, not because of the potential of it, because of the political forces around it. I mean, it is a quagmire there. And look, like, hey, maybe they get some momentum and find an identity, and Miles Brennan, becomes the hope that you pin things around. I mean, there's a chance, but right now it looks awful.
Pete Thamel, Yahoo Sports National College columnist, join us right here on Duncan Holder. Jim Derry sitting in for Jeff Duncan. I'm Larry Holder, of course. And you look at and one day he's talking about it's his call on the offense. Then the next two days later, he says, no, this is Matt Canada's offense, but I meddled a little bit. And then at halftime, who knows what happened behind the scenes. Then we started to change things back to what Matt Canada said. All I know is if I'm Matt Canada, I'm probably wondering what is going on here, and he's only been here for 5 games.
Well, Matt Canada got fired from NC State 2 or 3 years ago. Like, he doesn't have this, like, he's not the next Chip Kelly, all right? Like, he doesn't have this, like, unbelievable track record. And Matt Canada doesn't do what you would think the ethos of an Ed Orgeron team would do. So has there been conflict? Well, yes, because, like, philosophically, they're completely different guys, right? I mean, Ed Orgeron is a line them up and run it down your throat guy. Like, again, obviously his expertise comes from the defensive side of the ball, but when you look at coaches who are defensive minded, most of them stay away from spread stuff. And look, Canada's had success, and obviously, that Pitt victory over Clemson last year is probably what got him that LSU job. But I think it's a little bit of, like, if you're thinking about this from 3-4 years from now, is that, if you're an LSU administrator, is that what you want LSU's offense to look like? I don't know. I would guess not.
I think you just want it to work. You don't care how it works.
Yes, you want it to work, but you also have to think like, what can you recruit to, and what is your identity? Like, sure, you want it to work, but like, what can work consistently for a long period of time?
That's the problem.
What has worked?
That's the problem in recruiting, though. The problem in recruiting is when you try to get these kids, more often than not, A, they're coming from systems that use the spread, and B, that's the kind of offenses they want to play in. So you kind of gear or cater to these 17 and 18-year-old kids that you're trying to recruit.
Sure. I mean, I understand how all that works, but
I'm not disagreeing with you, by the way.
If you lead a program, you need it to have an identity. And what do you want LSU's identity to be? Do you want it to be like pre-snap ballerina dancing like Matt Canada does, or do you want it to be smash it down your throat? I would think historically, and I would think knowing Ed Orgeron, I would think you want it to be a little bit more of the latter, because that's what you can recruit to. You have these awesome big power backs, and then you have, in some kind of pro-style set, you have these, obviously, they've had these dynamic wide receivers. And I just think that would behoove you in the long run to do that.
Pete, the two primary players everyone nationally knows, Darius Geis and Arden Key. We know Darius Geis hasn't been on the field the last couple of weeks. According to Orgeron, he's still questionable for the Florida game. But Arden Key, you have a point specifically in your column. Look, this is a kid who you figure could easily be a top 10 pick. And from the people you've talked to, that he's not playing like one or even has the effort that he's exuding. I mean, is that kind of something habitual you've seen with the defense, or is it with Key? Or, because Dave Aranda, look, he's been lauded as this defensive genius in these parts, and obviously the defense is a major part of the problem as well.
There's no question the defense is a major part of the problem. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I watched every one of Arden Key's snaps on film, through the first 5 games, but I read it and I credited it in the story that I wrote this week. It was reported down there that Arden Key's 25 pounds overweight. Well, whose fault is that if the best player on your roster is 25 pounds overweight?
Exactly. And it goes above. I think there's a major frustration just with everyone here that LSU is stuck. And I could
stung?
Well, both. And I can't. It's like I could talk about the same thing every day, and it doesn't seem like it's going to get any better anytime soon. And I mean, I keep comparing it. Look, Texas isn't what it used to be. Tennessee isn't what it used to be. LSU, it's like everyone can see that LSU could become that if they can't fix this soon. And like Jim asked you, I mean, I don't know if there's a way to do that, right?
I don't. I mean, it's not clear right now. Let's put it that way. Like, there's no roadmap to get out of this. Because at the end of the day, say it's a rebuild, right, which it really wasn't, and you can't rebuild at LSU. You got to win, right? If it was a rebuild, when there's rebuilds, what's the number one tenet of a rebuild? What's like the number one thing you need to show as you're building things back up? To your fans, to your recruits, to build an identity, you have to play hard. And the fact that that's missing is the single most important thing about this LSU debacle of a season. LSU is not playing hard, and that is 100% on Ed Orgeron. And if you're not doing that and you're the head coach, how do you build this thing? If there's not effort, that means there's bad culture. That means there's bad cohesion. That shows problems on the coaching staff. That shows problems in relationships with the players. I mean, that is the fundamental core of football at the end of the day, and that's missing.
Yeah, you're 5 games in, you're already not seeing that. That's certainly going to be a problem. Pete Thamel, Yahoo Sports national columnist. Again, check out his column on Yahoo Sports. What's wrong with LSU tires? Quote, they're soft. Also, I'll give your colleague a plug. Even Dan Wetzel got involved. This has become a massive story because of what LSU is known to be and what they have become now. So, hey, Pete, appreciate the time.
Thanks,
and look, bring the heat because they need it down here. Bring the heat on LSU.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see how it plays out, guys.
Absolutely. Hey, Pete, appreciate the time as always, my friend.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Pete Thamel from Yahoo Sports. And, Jim, when we come back, look, in yesterday's press conference, Ed Orgeron was asked about effort. So when we come back, we'll hear what he had to say.
I can't wait.
On the effort of his team and some other sound bites. Also, we'll get our local perspective. Ron Higgins,
happy Jojo,
LSU SEC columnist. Oh, he's happy too. Oh yeah, party all the time.
And here comes Jody Messina telling me bye-bye.
See, I don't even know what this is. So You're just zeroed in on that.
Mike Dave.
Everyone's bye.
Get out of here.
We're going to be back, though, next commercial break. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, the iHeartRadio app. Jim Derry, Larry Holder. Today, we're Duncan Holder. Boy.
Josh Innes.
The reality
this
about
is the
LSU
worst
is we
week
saw.
that this could happen.
Is this
to
too
LSU.
heavy-handed?
Man.
No,
I'm trying to think of other goodbye songs you can come up with. I challenge.
In sync.
Oh, that's coming. I challenge you
it's
to.
already in there.
Okay.
iHeartRadio. All your favorite music. All your favorite
No,
stations.
it's so
all free. And now with
to
football.
say
It's in there, too.
goodbye. Yeah, we go.
Most of your week is focused on your fantasy team or teams.
You know, and country has so many great songs for leaving, you know?
Yeah.
You should
Leaving,
know 'em
let
all.
me
Really?
gone, bye-bye, go away.
And advice.
She took my truck and my dog, bye-bye, baby.
Give me a bottle of whiskey and get me out of here.
At work.
I could use a bottle of whiskey about now.
ABC tonight, the series premiere of the most buzzed
I mean,
about
if
new
Pete didn't
comedy of the
depress you,
season.
jeez, you were the happiest guy on earth.
Courtney Rose is our projected winner.
Wow. You the mayor.
It's being called a standout. Lovable and hilarious. Your new favorite.
I think I got this.
Damn right you do.
And E! Online says it's the best new comedy of the season.
Come on, we gotta get you some sleep. It might be your last chance for the next 4
Yeah,
years.
this is the worst week for this to happen to LSU
The series
because
premiere of ABC's
there's no
new
Saints.
comedy, The Mayor.
Saints
tonight
are off.
after Blackish on ABC.
As a busy parent,
everyone's
taking
going to
your
zero
child's
in this.
temperature
Otherwise,
couldn't be
I
as
wouldn't be
stressful as
talking
fighting
with
through traffic.
I'd be
With
talking
All right,
Saints.
coming back.
Yep.
Scanner thermometer. One gentle scan of the forehead is all it takes. If only the commute were that easy. Pick one up at your local Club Warehouse or other fine retailers.
This is Duncan Holder on Sports 1280 New Orleans.
I don't know where to go.
I don't even know if I'm gonna make it to the second hour.
We'll talk about the Pelicans by the time we get to 11:30.
I mean, like,
And they've got hope, right? They've got
gonna
hope.
flood this desk full of tears.
The Saints are 2-2. They won't lose this week because they're off. That's good.
I have tears every morning from a 19-month-old child that just will
Blame LSU. That's not our fault.
blame LSU from a 19-month-old crying.
Probably, yes. Everyone's crying.
She does watch football with me.
She
she
should
does
be
do
crying.
touchdowns. So.
Well, she didn't do that too
but
often.
she doesn't get to do it during the LSU
No,
game.
she only did it once when it was 37-7 against Mississippi State.
Touchdown.
Yeah, that's about all. But look, we had Pete Thamel on just now from Yahoo Sports, and he touched on a couple of key issues that Ed Orgeron was even asked about in yesterday's press conference. And one of them, and Pete just said it flat out, the fact that it doesn't look like you're getting the max effort from your players. It's like you're 5 games in, and people are already mailing it in, it almost looks like. And that's disturbing.
They were getting the max effort of the players from Les Miles.
Were they?
Yeah, absolutely they were. That's one thing, and you can't say that about Les Miles' coach team. They gave their effort for 12 years.
The last time I can honestly say
until the very end.
The last time I can honestly say I don't think I saw a lot of effort from an LSU team was at the end of DiNardo. I think that's the last time I saw it look anything kind of like what we've been seeing.
You want to know what the problem is? It's real simple. LSU fans think that their team should be number one every year. There's only one team that's doing that, and that's fine. There is no Nick Saban out there except Nick Saban. And the problem is, what do you mean we're only going to the national championship game twice in a decade? That's ridiculous. Well, guess what? There's nothing wrong with that.
And you did one with Nick Saban, so there you go.
Well, there were in the national championship game 3 times. So I'm just counting Les Miles as 2.
But he's the one who started it and got it rolling.
But maybe so. But you got a coach that kept it going. And the program was just as good or even better. And I would venture to say it was better under Les Miles than it was under Nick Saban. If you go through Nick Saban's career at LSU and you go through Les Miles' career at LSU, I think it was better under Les Miles overall.
Well, Miles had a longer tenure.
And he was here longer, I understand that.
Tenure.
But I'm just talking about the program continued until the very end when Fans got tired of winning 9 and 10 games, and that wasn't good enough for them. Now you're in this predicament, and you can get mad at me all you want. Whoever, I can't remember the guy's name that called in yesterday and chastised me for, quote, being a less loyalist. You can call me a less loyalist. That's not what I really am. I just thought there's nothing wrong with the way that the program was going back then.
Well, all you got to do is look at it. Look, Pete didn't come up with this philosophy of not seeing the effort out there all by himself. He's talking to people, and that's becoming the perception
Absolutely
out there. And so
it is.
that's a
It's not a perception. That's what's happening.
That's a dangerously slippery slope. Let's hear what Ed Orgeron had to say about seeing if he was getting max effort from his players.
You know, a lot of people ask me that question. You know, it does look like we're playing flatter sometimes. We feel that we're practicing with energy. There was a lot of energy in the locker room. But I think that, you know, we have a saying, big plays fuel emotion. And, you know, we go out there and we fumble the play on the first snap, and they score a touchdown. I think that took the air out of us. So that's my job. You know, that's one of my strengths. So I think that you're going to see a team very fired up to play this week, and hopefully we can continue to do that and improve in that area.
Well, Christian LaContour, the one of the two positives that Ed Orgeron mentioned, he spoke with media yesterday and saying it's unfair that people are coming after Orgeron and such, and saying he should be fired, and he said it was disrespectful. Well, I could see where he's coming from,
It's our job.
And yet it's the nature of the beast. You know what you're getting into. LSU is a high pressure program. I mean, you're not hearing that from middle of the road SEC schools all the time, because LSU has put themselves I don't think fans have put LSU on a pedestal. LSU has built the pedestal.
They've earned to be on that pedestal.
Exactly. So I think that's part of it. But also one of the aspects that Pete wrote about in his column is that both sides of the football up front were getting whipped. Let's hear what Ed Orgeron had to say about the offensive line and the defensive line being knocked around against Troy.
I think that you bring up a good point. We're not playing the way we want to on both sides of the line of scrimmage. That's one of the reasons I wanted to quit shift and motion, be more physical at the point of attack. But, you know, you're playing two freshmen there, and guys are moving, and they're challenging our two freshmen. On defense, our best player is out, Rashard Lawrence. We're out with almost every snap at right end, so it was kind of difficult for him to hold a point. We wish we could have rotated him, but we couldn't. And we think that we can have some help with Rashard Lawrence this week, and Ed Alexander and Frank Herron against Auburn.
Front, so that should help you. Darius Geis we don't know if he's going to play yet. Obviously, when you get him back, that should help you. But to me, you're wondering, is it too little, too late, at least for this year?
Well, it's not too little, too late yet. I mean, look,
I would agree.
Look,
but it just doesn't. It's someone's reaching out to me saying, "Oh, look, everyone was gloom and doom in the NFL. Saints were 0-2.
Right. That's where I was going.
But it's a different story. You're not losing to inferior opponents and getting whipped by inferior opponents.
Well,
I don't think anyone.
Minnesota might be an inferior opponent.
Not with Sam Bradford, and now they don't have Delvin Cook. But at that point, the Saints. Look, I predicted the Saints to win that game, but I thought it would be close. I wouldn't have been surprised if they would have lost, and they lost. They also lost to the Patriots. Now, did we think
they didn't just lose though?
They got
whipped.
They were
uninspired, got out-coached, got out everything in every phase of the game. There's a difference between losing and just getting embarrassed. And the Saints were embarrassed 2 weeks in a row, the first time on national television. And, you know, so I was wrong in the fact that I thought after those two games, I thought the Saints would go 4-12. And I jumped to conclusions. So I still don't think the Saints are a great team, but I think they're better than what I thought they were after two games. And so I'm saying I jumped to conclusions. And they may be an 8-8, a 9-7 team. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, I'd be surprised if it's better than that. And I hope I'm wrong for the sake of it's a lot more fun to talk about a winning program than it is to talk about a losing program.
Are you sure? Because we've talked about a lot about losers this week.
I don't want to be sad anymore.
I know you don't, but I'm gonna bring you back. Come back to me.
But
the Patriots.
LSU could be.
The Patriots are still a good team. I still think the Vikings are a good team. The fact that you lost those games, were you beat down? Yes. But then you came back And look, NFL teams, for the most part, are on a level playing field. Some teams are so bad, but it's only like one or two of them. Like in the NFL, there are only two, and then this year they don't even have super elites. LSU should never be in a game with Syracuse. They should never be in a game with Troy. So it's not. LSU should be on the top part, and they should never play like they did. And
it is what it is. What I'm saying is, we'll find out everything they're made of this week. Win or lose, you can watch the game and find out what they're made of.
I think that's a good point. Honestly, I think you're right. That is a good point. But we're going to have to sit and wait and see, and people are going to have to stew in it all week. Coming up next, Ron Higgins talking more LSU football chaos. Sean Kelly of the Pelicans Radio Network will join us also in 11:30 hour, and so we'll have a little more positive talk here. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. Jim Derry, I'm Larry Holder. We're Duncan Holder.
Welcome to Zip Poll USA, the polling app that lets you tell the nation what you think. Download the Zip app today. It's Tuesday, October 3rd. Beyonce sent Lady Gaga an Ivy Park sweatshirt. Myalgia. Is there a hidden motive here? I hope not. 72% of women think it's Beyonce being a really good friend, and 53% of men agree. The remainder, though, are a little bit suspicious and think that there's a hidden motive here for sure. And why do you think that Kylie Jenner isn't confirming or denying her pregnancy? 59% of people say she is waiting on a payout to release the information. The other 41% say that this pregnancy is fake news indeed. Answer all of life's opinion-based questions with just one swipe. Download Zip, the polling app that lets you tell the nation what you think in the App Store. It's free and 100% anonymous.
And JT called me about it. Justice.
WODT, WNOE FM HD2 New Orleans. Listen on the free iHeartRadio app. Search Sports 1280.
They just don't want
Fox Sports trending now.
It's win or go home tonight for the Yankees and Twins. They duke it out in the wild card game in the American League for the right to face the Indians in the American League Division Series. Game action gets underway at 8 Eastern from the Bronx. National League wild card is Wednesday night in Arizona. Diamondbacks hosting the Rockies. Yankees rookie slugger Aaron Judge had the best-selling jersey in the bigs this season and the best-selling rookie jersey ever, according to Major League Baseball. Cubs teammates Chris Bryant and Anthony Rizzo finished second and third, respectively, just ahead of Dodgers ace Clayton Kershaw and National star outfielder Bryce Harper, who round out the top five. Meanwhile, in the NHL, 45-year-old Jaromir Jagr has signed with the Calgary Flames for his 27th season in the NHL, and the UFC says they'll donate $1 million to the families of those affected by Sunday's mass shooting on the Las Vegas Strip. I'm Deb Carson.
The Autism Society.
All right, 4 minutes. Smoke them if you got them.
Connected Talent Show. It's October 14th at the UNO Grand Ballroom. Proceeds benefit the Autism Society and Down Syndrome Association. Go to asgno.org. Bike MS is October 7th and 8th. It's a 2-day bike ride from Hammond to Macomb and back to raise funds and awareness for multiple sclerosis. Go to nationalmssociety.org. A message from Sports 1280 Communities, helping to make a difference in New Orleans.
Hi, I want to talk to you about IRS tax debt. If you owe money to the IRS, you're not alone. Millions of Americans owe money to the IRS. When the IRS comes to collect, they often add penalties and interest to your balance. They also have the authority to garnish your wages and or levy your bank accounts. It's best to have someone on your side to help battle the IRS. For years, Oxford Tax Partners has helped people just like you. If you owe more than $5,000 to the IRS or have multiple years of unfiled tax returns, call Oxford Tax Partners today at 1-866-700-1818 for a free and confidential consultation. That's 1-866-700-1818. Oxford Tax's fees are reasonable, and they will only bring you on if they are able to achieve real savings on your IRS tax debts. So, what do you have to lose? Call Oxford Tax Partners today at 1-866-700-1818. Your free and confidential consultation. Learn how Oxford Tax can help you put your IRS tax debt behind you once and for all. That's 1-866-700-1818. 1-866-700-1818.
iHeartRadio. All your favorite music. all your favorite stations, all free. Need a break from the world? Open the iHeartRadio app, pick a song, a playlist, an artist, or even a podcast, and immerse yourself in your own personal getaway space. Sometimes you just need to tune out the world, so tune in to iHeartRadio. Download or open the free iHeartRadio app today.
If you're over 50, listen carefully. Do you have trouble remembering names, where you put your keys, or where you parked your car? Even simple facts that you should remember but just can't? By age 50, the average person has lost half of their short-term memory, and it only gets worse. Don't ignore the warning signs of age-related memory loss. Now you can think faster and remember more with Cebria, the best-selling non-prescription memory formula supported by 20 years of memory research. A scientific study shows that Cebria can improve your memory in just 30 days. Just call 1-800-990-7211 to get started. All callers today receive a free 30-day supply of Cebria, so you can start improving your short-term memory right away. Get your free bottle of Cebria. Call 1-800-990-7211 or order online at freememoryoffer.com. 1 free month per household. Don't wait. Call 1-800-990-7211 or go to freememoryoffer.com.
From baking to dinners with friends, why do the best things in life create so many dirty dishes? Forget the mess. Finish Quantum gives you an unbeatable clean. And now, Finish Quantum also gives you 25% more loads per pack than Cascade Platinum. So bring on more baked-on lasagna, get stuck into more sticky cherry pie, and say yes to more dried-on brownie mix. Finish Quantum tackles them all. Pick it up.
30 seconds. Almost didn't make it back.
There you go. You want to get
bye then.
Not that Derry would care.
Bye then.
I want you to live in a neighborhood with you. So let's
all right, you getting Ron?
up this beautiful day. Since we're together, we might as well say, would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor?
Hi, neighbor. Mr. Rogers passed along friendship in his neighborhood. Hope
it's ringing.
So let's get started. Friendship. Pass it on. From the Foundation for a Better Life at Values.com.
All right, we got Ron just in time.
Oh, yeah. Duncan Holder, hour number 2. Had Pete Thamel on in hour number 1. If you missed it, sports1280.com, NOLA.com, iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube channels. And you can catch that shortly after we're done with hour number 2. Jim Derry sitting in with me one more day.
Trombone Shorty doesn't tell me bye-bye.
That's because he doesn't say a lot of words in his songs. You know, usually
best.
it's instrumental. Is that what the
like
kids
Herb
call
Alpert.
it? I don't know who that is.
Oh, boy.
See?
Chuck Mangione.
I don't know who that is either.
Dave.
It's just what it is.
Get out.
On target.
Poor Jim Derry. But join us right here on the show is our own Ron Higgins, LSU SEC columnist. Ron, boy, you've had an interesting 3 weeks of covering LSU football. It's been from, well, Mississippi State, they're pretty good. No, they actually stink, and LSU probably stinks worse. To, well, you never know. Look, Syracuse, high-scoring game, whatever. Hey, but they're still winning, and now it's LSU loses to Troy. And as you put it, everyone must be fired Monday. But you're pointing more toward the main boss of the athletic programs as opposed to his hired head coach, Ron. So what's your thought process with the column you've got at NOLA.com right now?
Well, I mean, if people aren't happy with Ed, then they need to go look back at the hiring process and the guy who hired him. You know, I'm not going to fault Ed for taking a dream job, when the guy offers it to me. But when you go back and look at that, Joe Leva had 2 months last year to find a head coach, and Tom Herman bails on him because Texas outbids him. And Joe Leva's next step is to hire Ed Orgeron. I mean, and then because Ed did a nice job last year as interim coach, but you know, Ed wasn't exactly in demand from other schools, and I just understand. I mean, at most major colleges, when you fire a head coach that early in the season, you have 2 months. You either put together a search committee or you hire a search firm to vet people for you, so you have a list of people at the end of the year. Leva didn't do that. He said he was the search committee, and so when Herman said no, he almost hired Orgeron like an hour or two later. I mean, I don't know why Leva was in a hurry. Did he have to finish his Christmas card list? Did he have to go Christmas shopping? It was early December. Still plenty of days to buy gifts. I don't get it. And this is just a long list of dumb hires he's made since he's been there. And honestly, I mean, it just carried over from Duke. I mean, whoever hired Joe Leva at LSU, Leva probably owes him a gritted attitude because, he was involved in a Duke lacrosse scandal as AD. He wasn't well liked at Duke. He made some bad hires there. And LSU gives him a golden parachute and hires him here. He's hired 2 bad basketball coaches. The third one, Will Wade, appears to be a good hire. He tried to lowball Paul Maneri, and Maneri basically had to talk to Texas about their vacancy to get Leva's attention. He hired a softball coach for a day, then the softball coach decided to go to Alabama. I mean, and there's also just the basic, treatment of fans and jacking up ticket prices and bleeding from all kinds of money from tickets and parking, and the fact he's also unaccountable to anybody. I don't think he ever returns a media phone call. I've never seen him actively engage with fans and find out what they like and want. He basically hides in his office and sends out emails.
Ron, you can forget about your pregame.
In 38 years of doing college sports, he might be the worst athletic director I've ever seen.
You can forget about your pregame meal, Ron. It's not coming.
That's okay. The pregame meal's crappy too. I'd be better off with a bag of Fritos.
That's when you really dunk and Holder. Look, we had Pete Thamel on, and he mentioned in his column that, look, Nebraska fired their athletic director. Do you think that Joe Leva is going to be fired? I know you think he deserves to be fired, and I would tend to think that most of LSU fandom would agree, but do you think he's going to get fired?
No, I don't. Unless the big money boosters, you know how the way it all works in college sports, Larry.
Sure.
Unless the big money boosters say, you know what, I'm going to take a couple of zeros off that check I'm sending y'all unless you get rid of this guy. Unless that happens, I don't know if they'll get rid of him because the dumbness trickles down from the top, and the dumbness is King Alexander. They would have fired Les Miles 2 years ago if Alexander hadn't failed because of national criticism, and Leva just nodded his head and said, yeah, maybe we shouldn't fire him. And so, it starts at the top. And they should probably clean a lot of people out of that university. But, unless the big money boosters demand it, and,
but why
college sports with money?
Why wouldn't they, though, Ron? Why wouldn't the big boosters stand up and say, anyone can see that you're right. It's been clear for at least at the minimum 2 years now how the Les Miles situation was mishandled, and now this situation of jumping in, why wouldn't the boosters say
they just think it's going to get better? They trust it's going to get better. It didn't. That's why I just don't. But maybe something like this has to happen where you kind of, all of what's happened to Ed Orgeron, most of it's not his fault. Okay, he took over a program, and I listed a bunch of reasons from the stuff that's going on. They're low on depth on linemen on both sides of the ball. That's not his fault. People say, well, Ed Orgeron was recruiting coordinator for Les Miles. Well, the head coach is always the one who makes the final offer, decides to offer. It's in the head coach's hands. They're low on depth. Their 3 best players have been hurt most of the time. They lost 5 guys to the NFL who are rookies in the NFL this year who are starting on defense. They're playing with freshmen. You got a new offensive coordinator. It's like this perfect storm of all these bad things going on. And so they're from week to week, man. They're just trying to find some way to see if they can get better, and they've gotten worse. And the consolation prize out of all this is that the SEC is awful this year.
Yeah, it really
take away
is.
Alabama and Georgia. Auburn's got a little bit better. Florida's no gangbusters, and the rest of the SEC is basically just mediocre football. So you look at the teams left in their schedule, there's hope there. I mean, could they win in Florida? Possibly. Florida's not great. Auburn will be a tough game. Alabama's not winnable. But the rest of them, yeah, because everybody's awful. So, and LSU's trying to be the best of the awful teams.
And LSU's put themselves in that point. Look, I keep bringing up that LSU, you stick with what's going on. LSU's are going to become Tennessee. They're going to become Texas, who are just powerhouse teams that at one point were able to win a national championship, and now they can't even sniff a conference title, much less getting into that. But Ron, let's shift over to Coach O. Look, I listened to what he had to say after the game. We've played a bunch of his comments in the last couple of days and today on the show, and there seems to be some sort of conflict, and you allude to it, between Coach O and Matt Canada. He says he kind of stuck his nose in the offense, and then after the second half, they switched back to Canada's offense, and it goes against what he said he was going to be doing to delegate. So what do you make of that situation and how the offense is being handled?
I think he's trying his very best to let Canada handle the offense, and I think Ed's frustrated because it's not working. Right now, and it's one of those things. It's hard. You still think maybe that you can win a game even if your offense doesn't work right, and the LSU can't do that right now because their defense isn't good enough, and their kicking game they can't make a field goal, and so I think Ed's a bit frustrated. He was just trying to figure out, how can I make cut down some of our mistakes, just make the offense more basic. Well, that doesn't help this team because this team doesn't have the ability to run over anybody. And like I wrote in my column Sunday, if I'm Troy and I'm reading that LSU is going to be basic on offense, I'm taking that as a personal affront. Like, okay, they really think they're just going to line up and run us over. Okay, great, bring it. And then they went back to the second half to the shifts of motion, and it was puzzling because in the first half with Etling, they went basic. I think they're searching for something, and there was the screw up on the first play of the game. Where Ed said he didn't. That wasn't he wanted to carry the ball. And I went back and looked at that play on tape, and it's the same play. And I think, I'm thinking Etling may have it was the same formation with Darrell Williams as an F back, and I'm thinking Etling may have audibled out the play. Maybe he saw something didn't like it and changed the play. And unfortunately Brissett fumbled, and that kind of set the tone for the night. So, I said this about Ed Orgeron. He knows every one of the problems. He knows how he has to fix them. And whether they get there this year or not, I don't know. It's one of those things where you can only fix stuff when you have the players to fix them with. And right now they don't. And look at Dave Aranda. Last year he was brilliant. Brilliant. Best defensive player in America. What's wrong with him last year's team? He's playing with 4 freshmen. And his best defensive player, Arden Key, hadn't played that much. He's trying to get in shape. And his other best defensive player, Rashard Lawrence, will be a first-round draft choice when he leaves school. It's double ankle sprains. All these things are going into stuff. It's a perfect storm, and right now for LSU, it's bad.
Okay, Ron, here's the question. Besides, we know Joe Oliva's got to go. But can Ed Orgeron be a good coach, good college coach? Can he turn things around? And I'm not just talking about this year. Can he be a guy that can be here for 10 years and turn this program back into what it needs to be?
I still think he can do that, but he's going to be better next year and then get substantially better in the third season. And you got to see the thing going back in the right direction. I mean, would you fire a guy at the end of the third year? Well, if you don't see substantial improvement in a program like this, yeah. And it's different other places. Other places, when they fired Ed after 3 years at Ole Miss, I'm telling you, look, I worked in Memphis. I saw Ed Orgeron when he was at Ole Miss. This is a different Ed Orgeron. I don't care what people think. They think, oh my God, he's the same coach. Ed Orgeron at Ole Miss was this guy knows how to be a head coach, and and he understands the problems. He's trying to fix problems. He's not trying to go crazy. He's coaching with maturity. He's trying to fix stuff. But right now, there's a lot of stuff being thrown at him at once they're trying to fix. And like I wrote, if you got a list of 7 things you got to fix, and that more than doubles your win total, it's not going to go away overnight.
Right, exactly. Ron Higgins, LSU SEC columnist for NOLA.com, the Times-Picayune. You can follow him on Twitter at RonHig2Gs. Hey, Ron, appreciate it, and I'm wondering when you're going to be able to write something with a different tone, because I'm not confident that that's coming anytime soon. So, Ron, be careful out there.
All right, and congrats. You could go back to covering 2-2 team. You're even. Good luck.
It's the first time I've seen that in, I don't know, 5 years. So hey, look, when 2-2 is sunshine and roses, boy, you got some problems. So hey, Ron, appreciate the time as always, buddy.
See ya.
All right, that's Ron Higgins here on Duncan Holder.
Saints were 4-4 last year, buddy.
Yeah, but they weren't 2-2. They go like 1-3, and they can climb all the way back up to 4-4, and then they plummet. I mean, I've seen it. I don't even know how many times.
They're great. They're going 14-2.
They're not great. They're just more viable right now than LSU. Just what are you going to do? It's just the way it is.
To me.
Exactly. So let's come back here. Will be joining us talking Pelicans and the Bulls tonight. First preseason game for the Pelicans. 7 o'clock tip at the Smoothie King Center. So we'll talk with him in a couple minutes. And time for your phone calls if you want to get involved. 504-260-1280 is the number for Sports 1280. NOLA.com and the iHeartRadio app. Jim Derry, Larry Holder. We're Duncan Holder.
Jordy Holtzberg.
Defense is non-existent.
2 till 4.
They've got 7 new defensive starters, 3 new defensive coaches, and the same old embarrassing results.
Sports 1280.
The $9 million man Payton going to have to figure it out.
New Orleans.
Do you know the power of a good idea and automatic shrimp peeling machinery that changed the seafood industry? JM founded the Latrim companies, Intralox, Le Pere Stair, Latrim Machinery. If you have good ideas and want to help create the next Latrim innovation, visit Latrim.com for a full listing of positions.
We interrupt your broadcast to bring you this
Voodoo
taste
Child.
of Wendy's iconic junior bacon cheese.
That's funny.
Bacon,
I used to cover the
cheese,
Voodoo.
and
He's trying to be
heavens,
funny.
Double the fresh, never frozen beef. And what's this? A Wendy's giant junior.
But my prodigy?
Not valid in Alaska and Hawaii. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
Hi, I'm Kelly Clarkson, and I've toured the country dozens of times, and there's one thing I see everywhere: childhood hunger. The sad truth is that 17 million kids struggle with it. That's why the Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
To help solve hunger in your community,
I think you should play I'm Only Happy When It Rains. Pour your misery down.
So, what could you do with $10? Go to Vistaprint.com today, and you'll get 500 high-quality custom business cards for only $9.99. So it's never been easier to turn 500 strangers into connections. .com, promo code 5858.
Let's say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels.
Make sure that you can turn me loose, 'cause I still got a lot of leaving left to do.
Fried Friday and on a Tuesday.
I don't know,
I'm not ready for that.
That's making me want to stay.
I'm not ready for that.
I mean, you're playing songs I like.
While you're telling them to get the hell out.
Exactly.
So
I've been used to. I mean, look, I live my whole life with people telling.
I don't even
because
want to know if I
work
want to know.
7 days a week.
Hey, one thing I could tell you, at least I feel like is over the protest of the national anthem. I think Saints fans are proud. They kneeled before the anthem. They stood up.
Well, we had some crazy. Decided that we were going to really ask them beforehand how they've always handled it and see if they stay consistent.
What?
I did something wrong.
You did something wrong.
I would like to apologize to the John Curtis Patriot in the locker room during the national anthem, as did Warren Easton. They played the national anthem about. It says that they. Coach JT called me yesterday, and I talked to Coach Jeff Curtis today. And it's something that they have done for their kids to stay in the locker room as long as they pot on it. And obviously it's a successful way to do things because I would like to publicly apologize to the John Curtis Patriots for, we talked about after games. Well, Coach Lab thought it was inappropriate that they stay in the decision that they want to stay in the locker room. to decide how they were going to do it. And I was completely wrong because that's how they handle it. They always handled it that way, long before there was ever any controversy in the nation, because I shouldn't have said that without talking to them first and figuring out how they handle it and where they were consistent. So,
well, Jim, you might be always right.
99.9% of the time. We're right. I was wrong.
There you go. But look, I do think that, but I think that that people are going to be handling it a certain way. And as far as the NFL, and you guys need to stand and respect the playing of the national anthem. So I'm curious to see because look, the Pelicans have even talked about moves forward if they do something. I'm curious.
One thing I was correct about was right after we talked about it, I said, now I hope we don't have to talk about this anymore. And I really think about it. We need to stop talking about it and let them do what they want. It is America, no matter what anybody thinks, no matter what I think, no matter what you think. I think that way and die a slow, it's already been a slow death, so let it go. Bye-bye, pardon the...
Because, look, even the Dolphins for years, but I do think that the shock that people are going to want to fight for the cause, and that's stopping. I mean, in sports and life, whatever. So I'm curious to see what continues and what doesn't as the season goes.
As far as at least from my perspective, and I've 80%, 85% of what I do is in the high school ranks, and so I think it's a hand anyway. I think it was probably a mostly non-issue in the high school ranks anyway. I have to, because that's what people want to hear. The same I was telling you earlier, Sean.
I don't necessarily think I'm going to be talking about it because his views, I know his views. He made his views abundantly clear. Out there on his own, some statistics about guns and war, and that's
to perpetuate the talk, I guess. But sometimes just think whatever you want to call it for so.
You want to be hashtag stick to sports?
Let's talk about real sports.
There you go. Let's take a quick break right here on the show. When we come back, we'll have Sean Kelly, Pelicans radio play-by-play voice, will join us. The Pelicans open up their preseason schedule. The Pelicans, you can listen to them all season long on our sister station, 99.5 WRNO. And so we're Duncan Holder.
Where'd you pull that out from?
Tuesday from the Fox 8 Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Shelby Latino, and we're looking at a journey during the afternoon hours.
Is RNO airing the game tonight or no?
Fox 8 Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Shelby Latino. Have a great day.
Hello, I'm Allie McGraw for People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. Our animal home, do not leave your animals behind. Visit helpinganimals.com.
I hate to tell you, Puerto Rico, but you've thrown our budget out of whack.
The American Heart Association says the disco song "Stay Cardiac Arrest" only need 2 steps to help save a life. Call 911, push hard and fast in the center of the chest to the beat of the song "Staying Alive." Disco is back in
If I wasn't on YouTube right now, I would say a really, really bad word that would be followed by moral.
Presented by Southern Glazers, WGNO TV ABC, and NOLA 38, the CW. Join us Saturday.
Every time he makes like little strides, like the way he handled Las Vegas yesterday, every time he takes that little stride out, he can't stand it. It's almost like he can't stand to be liked.
Great food and live entertainment. Buy your tickets today online at wineontherivernola.com. Proceeds benefit the Louisiana Hospitality Foundation.
Puerto Rico official. So what's your death count? 16? You can be very proud only 16 instead of thousands.
Easy way out of debt? It could be for a debt settlement company. Are they asking for huge upfront fees before any money goes to...
Sean's not answering right now.
Telling you to stop paying your credit card bills and collecting the money instead? Fortunately, there is a difference.
Trying because I can't use my...
We have a Dan and Gentili who called. You want to talk with him while I'm trying this?
227.
Okay.
Call Will.
I mean, we still got 30 seconds, but...
All right, well, yeah, keep trying, but... Because, I can't use my phone.
NFCC.
Right.
Yeah.
Costumes.com/iHeart has over 10,000 costumes, including 2,000 made exclusively for you. Your favorite movie, your favorite artist, your favorite food. We have them all.
Oh, we can call Jeff.
Fairy tale princesses, king sizes infant to adult 8X. 10,000 options await you at HalloweenCostumes.com/iHeart. And why HalloweenCostumes.com/iHeart? Because we're partnering with them to get you 15% off. Go to Halloween.
All right, well, I'll call Jeff.
Okay.
If you don't want to do Dan and Gentili.
Okay.
Going deep on the teams you care about. Sports 1280 New Orleans.
We're efforting Sean Kelly.
Now Dave wants me to go to Dirty Bird Land.
When we get a chance, we will we'll get Sean Kelly on. In the meantime, 504-260-1280 is the number to get involved. Dan in Gentilly. Dan, thanks for calling Duncan Holder. What you got, Dan?
Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, listen, I was at that Brother Martin John Curtis game on the 23rd, and John Curtis was definitely standing on the sideline for the national anthem. Brother Martin was the home team. We did the prayer. And then after, they said, everybody, make sure you rise and stand for respect for the military. We did the national anthem, and then they did the coin toss.
That was because
John Curtis was definitely on the sideline.
And I take you for your word. I'd have to ask Jeff and JT about this, but my understanding is I think they're under their schedule. The difference is they play the national anthem 8 to 10 minutes before the game starts, whereas when Brother Martin's the home team, they play the national anthem right before the game starts. So I believe that is the difference. So they're on Brother Martin's schedule when Brother Martin's the home team.
And I was at the Warren Easton Brother Martin game, and Warren Easton was on the sideline too. So they chose to stay in. I don't think that's against their, because I have actually pictures that I took because my son's on the team. And, I was just looking at pictures, and I can see Warren Easton on the other side.
Well, I can tell you that we were taken aback by, and again, not knowing, we had just started our pregame show, and we were like literally 2 minutes into the pregame of a 15-minute pregame show, and realized that they were playing the national anthem, and I had to stop in the middle of a sentence, basically. So, again, I think that is the difference. The difference is that when Curtis is the home team, they're under their own schedule. They can play the national anthem whenever they want. When someone else, Brother Martin was the home team, and just about everybody else plays the national anthem about 3 minutes before kickoff. So Curtis was out there because that's when they go out there. So that's what the difference is.
That might be the case, but
I appreciate the phone call. And surprise guest, he said he might be available. And he's here. He wants to take back his chair now.
Jet lag Duncan.
But he's not in the studio, so he's still calling us. Jeff Duncan joining us right here. Oh wow.
Come on.
Jeff, you haven't listened to much of the show, I assume, but Dave has been trying to run Jim out all show, like music, subtle hints, not subtle
I don't know
hints.
why I'm still sitting here. I really don't. I mean, it's just like complete disrespect, Dunk. I mean, you need to put a stop to this.
He will tomorrow when he's in the seat.
No, that's not what I meant.
So, Jeff, what's up, buddy?
What
I must have done something to his Cheerios that I didn't know about. I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, we're not even in the same studio anymore, so I don't. I mean, it's really hurting my feelings. I'm about to cry.
Mess with Dave. He's got the power, as we all know. So I think you're going to lose that battle, JD.
Oh, there's no question. I've already lost it.
You have. Until you're back on the show in 2 days when we have your prep segment on Thursday. But, hey, Jeff, look, obviously we've got a lot to talk about since, look, we could talk Saints, we could talk whatever, but I'm just going to get your perspective on everything that you've seen from the LSU football disaster. And I think it is a disaster because I don't know when it's going to get better. But what's your perspective on all of this? Look, our own Ron Higgins is saying Joe Aliba needs to be fired. Many other people saying, look, both should probably be out at this start. And just your overall spectrum of what you can kind of handle of the situation.
Well, it's worse than I thought it was going to be. I thought Coach O might struggle in his first year. I didn't think he would struggle in the first half of his first year when we all saw the schedule was pretty light. I think we all thought there was a real strong chance LSU would go to Florida at 5-0. You know, I mean, I think that's what we all assumed. And, he's got his work cut out for him trying to keep the ship afloat, keep it righted. I didn't realize they were as bad off as they are along both lines, and I think it took that Mississippi State game for us to see that the attrition that's happened over the last few years, from bad recruiting to transfers to all the other things that it just added up to undermine a major college program like LSU to the point where they're going to be lucky, I think, to finish above 500 in the SEC. I really don't know how they're going to do it. I can't see them. You all probably have talked about this a lot on the show, but going to Florida, having Auburn at home, Tennessee, Alabama, those games all look like losses right now. But I'm not ready to jump onto the 5 games into the tenure and say this is, cause for termination of Ed Orgeron. I think we need to kind of give it some time to let it play out and see how bad it gets. But I think Ron Higgins' column today about Joe Alleva certainly has a lot of merit.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If you fire Joe Alleva, you're basically firing him because you are not happy that he hired Ed Orgeron. I mean, I know he's made some bad hires, but that would signal to Coach O that they probably don't have much confidence in him. How delicate of a situation you think that is. And look, we had Pete Thamel on, of course, your buddy, and we've talked with him a bunch of times about Coach O. And look, he's saying, that Alleva is one of the least respected ADs in the country, and that Nebraska fired their AD just recently. Why can't LSU do the same thing?
Well, I think Joe Alleva, if he were to be, look, he's got to be on the hot seat. He hung his hat on this hire, but it's not the only hire he's made that's been bad. The Johnny Jones hire was a disaster. He hasn't been able to get the basketball program fixed throughout his tenure. Now, maybe Will Wade does get it done, but there's a number of things that Joe Alleva has mishandled, including the Les Miles situation at the end of the 2015 season. So there's a body of work there that I think Joe Alleva has to own up to. And in a program the size of LSU, with the resources at hand, there's no excuse for the football program not to be a top 10 program. And frankly, they haven't been a top 10 program for several years, since the early half of the Les Miles era. They've allowed it to slide down to where it's now, I think, going to have a lot of trouble attracting a top quality candidate if they were to make a move on Ed Orgeron, and that's all attributable to Joe Alleva.
Hey,
so I do think he's in hot water, and he may end up taking the fall. And I agree with you, Larry. It probably is not a good security blanket for Ed Orgeron, but I don't see how they possibly could make a move on him with the amount of money they owe him right now.
Dunk, Tom Jurich is available.
Well, we'll see. Tom Jurich might end up coming back to Louisville. We'll see. He's the best athletic director in the country.
I'm only half joking. He is a good athletic director.
I know. No, I'm only half joking too. I think Louisville's interim president has enough people in his ear right now, and enough people talking sense to him to realize firing Tom Jurich is going to be one of the biggest mistakes the University of Louisville would ever make.
But didn't he?
We'll see if he survives this. But if he indeed is done at Louisville, LSU should be at his doorstep trying to bring him down to Baton Rouge, because what he did to the Louisville athletic program, I think everybody in college sports knows, is all Tom Jurich.
But didn't he want to leave because of?
He's a free agent.
But didn't he want to leave because he didn't want to fire Rick Pitino? So I mean, does he even want to stay there?
Oh yeah, he's been there 20 years, JD, and his family's deeply rooted up there.
Okay.
He loves the University of Louisville. This is a new president that hardly even knows Tom Jurich. It's a really odd situation at Louisville in that this thing happened very quickly. And I think the president, while well-intentioned, has probably had time to look over this whole thing. It was such a unique set of circumstances. I think it says a lot that the only people that have been fired, except for one, I think, other assistant at one of the other schools, the only people that have been fired in the entire FBI investigation probe as a Hall of Fame basketball coach, one of the best coaches of all time, and the best athletic director in the country. To me, that strikes as a little premature. Maybe cooler heads will prevail, and they'll look at this situation over the next few weeks and keep Jurich on board.
Jeff Duncan joining us right here on Duncan Holder. Jeff will be back in studio tomorrow, and Jim has been gracious enough to lend us his services for the past while Jeff has been globetrotting. But, Jeff, we haven't even talked to you. Saints win 2-2, going to the bye week. Did you look? Obviously, the game wasn't the cleanest game in the world, but when they got it together, they in the second half specifically, look, they were able to beat a team that I feel like they should have beaten, and they did so by 20. And I think that's at least got to say that we were doom and gloom over the Saints' 0-2 start. You can at least go into, say, the next couple of weeks thinking, all right, this team keeps playing the way they're playing, they could be viable.
I don't think there's any doubt about it, Larry. I mean, you have to give credit to the coaching staff and the veteran leaders on this team that have made the correct fixes, especially the defensive side of the ball, in a very short period of time. I mean, they've gone to this 3-safety alignment on defense. They pretty much said, look, we don't have the good corners right now. We don't have depth at cornerback. So they've kind of piecemealed together a secondary until they can get some of these guys back, and it's worked wonders. Now, look, they played – the Dolphins were awful. I mean, they are terrible. I don't want to take anything away from the Saints' victory, but that was a god-awful offense that they just faced. We're going to find out a lot in the next 2 weeks. Detroit and Green Bay, I think, two top elite quarterbacks going against the Saints. A much greater challenge for that patchwork secondary. But I do think they're back in the mix, and they've got confidence right now. And momentum and confidence are a lethal combination in the NFL. When you look around the league, there's one unbeaten team right now, 4 teams that are 0-4, and everybody else is 3-1, 2-2, or 1-3. So the Saints have to feel good about where they're at 2-2, like you said, Larry.
Jeff Duncan right here on Duncan Holder. He'll be back. We'll get all of his adventures. All
the bye-bye songs will be gone.
That's right. It'll be like "Welcome Back," "Welcome Back, Kate." Yeah, it'll be glorious return for one Jeff Duncan.
It'll be springtime in the fall. The flowers will be blooming.
Man, Jim is sad over here. He really is sad. Wow. I think you're gonna be okay, dude. But
the sad thing is, I miss Dunk too.
You do?
Yeah.
Wow.
So right, I almost want.
So y'all want to throw me out the chair?
No, I think I want me going too.
Oh, okay, good. Well, Jeff, we're going to let you go, and we will see you back here at our NOLA.com Times Picayune Studios tomorrow morning. So safe travels.
See you there tomorrow, guys. Thanks.
See you, Dunk.
Thanks for holding down the fort, JD.
Anytime, bud.
There we go. So one final break here. When we get back, I have one more Ed Ogeron soundbite I have not played, and it's relevant to basically the entire conversation. How much is he paying attention to the fire that's around him at this point?
Oh, boy.
So we'll play that and then wrap up the show here on a Tuesday here, Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. We're Duncan Holder.
Enjoy wines from around the world, great food, and the music of Tanya Boyd Cannon and box office giants. That's the second annual Wine on the River, November 11th at Audubon Aquarium Plaza. Get your ticket at wineontheriver.NOLA.com. Presented by Southern Glazers, WGNO, and NOLA38.
ABC tonight, the series premiere of the most buzzed-about new comedy of the season, The Mayor.
It appears as if local rapper Courtney Rose is our projected winner.
Wow.
You the mayor.
It's being called a standout. Lovable and hilarious. Your new favorite.
I think I got this.
Damn right you do.
Candy Online says it's the best new comedy of the season.
Come on, we gotta get you some sleep. It might be your last chance for the next 4 years.
Wait, this job is 4 years?
Yeah.
The series premiere of ABC's new comedy, The Mayor, tonight after Blackish on ABC.
Hey, New Orleans, this is Mayor Mitch Landrieu. 12 years ago, New Orleans was brought to her knees by the devastation of Hurricane Katrina. We all remember it. Our thoughts and our prayers are with those in Texas and southwest Louisiana affected by Hurricane Harvey. That's why I reactivated the NOLA Pay It Forward Fund in partnership with the Greater New Orleans Foundation. These churches and volunteer organizations show the best of New Orleans. That's why I'm asking all of New Orleanians to pitch in and help pay it forward by donating today. Those interested in donating to the fund can go online to www.gnof.org. NOLA Pay It Forward.
Loans are made by WebBank. Amazon is not a sponsor of this promotion. Other restrictions apply. See website for details.
Wouldn't it be nice if more of your money went to savings instead of the credit card companies? It could. Through Avant. With a competitive fixed-rate loan through Avant, you can pay your high-interest credit card bills and save money. That's right. Instead of paying so much credit card interest each month, extra money could go
All right, we got a Bob in Destrehan, but I'm not sure if that's his real name.
online with no
like
hassles.
Burton Metairie?
No. I think this is just some a-hole.
Oh, great.
Well, we got a couple of those in the talk market, you know.
You've had one on for a week.
I know, man. So glad to be rid of you. So now this guy is one of these people who calls a whole bunch of stations, you know, and just, I don't know, he's just a D-bag.
And Avant will give you a fit.
But it might not be him, but he says he's Bob in Destrehan.
Let's just go with
it. Can I call him Bobby?
Well, no, I mean, but the thing is, I mean, if it's who I think it is, when he talks sports, he just talks sports. But he's another wackadoodle who calls about politics shows.
For a study supporting.
So he'll probably be fine. So don't worry about it.
Yep.
Get yours at your local club, warehouse, or other fine retailers.
I can handle wackadoodles anyway.
Bring him on.
How do
I
say goodbye?
Dunk and Holder now. Josh Innes next at noon on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
What a way to send out Jim Derry.
You notice these songs are getting more and more sad as we go along.
I mean, Bob Denver was
John
the pit.
Denver. Bob Denver.
Who's Bob Denver?
Was
Is that
actor.
Gilligan?
Yes.
Bob Denver's Gilligan.
I don't think he was on Gilligan. Oh, my God. Somebody teach this man some culture.
Bob Denver, John Denver.
Did you play with Legos when you were a kid till you're like 14?
Jimmy Toledo. I don't know.
Holy Toledo?
Yeah, that too. But let's hear what Ed Orgeron had to say. A question was posed to him in his press conference yesterday by one of our LSU beat writers, Andrew Lopez, who is a frequent contributor to Dunk and Holder, and he brought up the fact that there are maybe one or two or thousands of people who are questioning the job status of one Ed Orgeron, and Andrew posed the question, how do you avoid the chatter of your possible firing?
How do you block that noise?
I haven't heard that. Thanks for telling me, Andrew.
Hey, Sean Kelly just called. We got him on the line.
Show up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I say my prayers. I drink my coffee. I watch film. I stay in the office all day. I call my wife 2 or 3 times a day. Text my boys. Go to practice. Go watch film. I go home and I put my head in the pillow and go to bed. I don't listen to the news. I don't listen to none of that. That's out of my control.
Well, not really. If you win games, you wouldn't have to worry about that. So, but let's hit the phone lines. And Sean Kelly got him for the last segment of the show. Of course, Pelicans taking on the Chicago Bulls tonight. First preseason game for the Pels. 7 o'clock tip at the Smoothie King Center. Sean, appreciate you you jumping on the show and getting back with us. And look, it's I was over there at Media Day, and many were surprised to see me, which is understandable. But look, I think this team understands that how critical this season is, and you're going to kind of get the look of the new look Pelicans with Rajon Rondo, Drew Holiday, and look, your thoughts on just them getting this thing rolling, and what are kind of your expectations that you're going to see this preseason?
Well, Larry, first, please accept my deepest apologies for being tardy. I didn't mean to hang you all up like that, and thanks for having me on.
All good, buddy.
And I think in a lot of ways there is the usual excitement around the start of any season, but at the same time, I think you can add a little bit more here for 2 reasons. One, I think you mentioned the new pieces. Just like anything else, it's always exciting to see what's new and shiny and what it could mean. And I think it's been nice, especially through training camp and now as we get into the preseason schedule, to see more guys on the floor than on the sidelines. It's a healthier Pelicans team, and I think that goes a long way into perhaps having a better start than they've had the last couple of years.
And, of course, you can listen to the game tonight on our sister station, 99.5 WRNO. And Sean, I'm curious. I know 4 starters. Who's going to be that 5th starter tonight at the small forward spot that you anticipate?
I'm expecting Dante Cunningham to get the first crack at this. I don't think he's the only guy that'll get a chance to play with that 4 that you referred to. So they're going to try a few things out, and I wouldn't be surprised as well to see Alvin Gentry go with more of a 3-guard look, depending on the matchup, the opponent, or the situation of the game. And so therefore I think Ejuan Moore slides in there with that group as well. But at the start here, it'll be Dante Cunningham, who I think will help take up the loss defensively that you had with the Solomon Hill injury. And if Dante can continue to build his shooting like he has done the last 2 years, year-over-year improvement, I think that bodes well as well.
Sean, Jim Derry here. I've said before, I think this is the most critical season in the team's existence here in New Orleans, really, as far as, what's going to happen with the future. If they can't get into the playoffs this year, I think there's going to be a lot of changes, both personnel and who knows what else. But do you believe that as well? Do you believe that this is the most critical season in this franchise's history here in New Orleans?
I think it is critical in the sense that you have to recapture the attention of basketball and sports fans in general in our region. I think it's as critical as it was the year that the team came back from Oklahoma in that rebuilding process after Katrina. We saw that team respond kind of to that challenge and go on and win the division that year. And it obviously paid big dividends, I think, for the profile of the team in the market and otherwise. And I think in a lot of ways, Jim, it's similar here in that sense. Not that you're fighting for your survival in the market or the market itself's overall resurgence, but maybe in the battle for relevance. I think that it has something to do with this team and their standing here, and also I think, like you said, I think the timing of where things stand with your superstar player and everything else, and the length of time you've gone with it, like on the football side. Is this worth continuing down this path, or is it time to make a sharp turn, depending on how things go?
Sean Kelly, Pelicans radio play-by-play voice, join us right here on Dunk and Holder. Don't forget, Pelicans preseason opener tonight, 7 o'clock tip. You can listen to it right here on our sister station, WRNO 99.5, and you can hear every Pelicans preseason game, regular season game, hopefully postseason game on the station. Just real quick, we only got about a minute left. Drew Holiday, how is he kind of early going in some of these practices and scrimmages? How has he kind of looked being at that 2 spot?
Well, free and easy. I think free and easy in the sense that for the first time in several years, he doesn't have the weight of the world on his shoulder with regard to his wife and child. He doesn't have the hindrances of significant injury, and now he gets to play alongside a playmaker, a distributor like Rajon Rondo, and all that attention on those 2 bigs is going to allow for Drew Holiday to kind of run wild, run free here, cut to the basket. If he can knock down some jumpers, I think he has a really good season. This is as good a shape as I've seen him in a couple of years, physically as well. So it's been fun to watch, and I think he's playing with a new joy, if you will. We'll see if it's
got about a minute and a half.
All right, Sean Kelly, radio play-by-play voice for the Pelicans again tonight. Bulls, the only home preseason game at the Smoothie King Center. And before you know it, we'll be having, 2 weeks away from regular season basketball. Hey, Sean, appreciate you you jumping on the show, and I'm sure we will catch up with you down the line. Thanks. I think we all know the score, and you got a free and easy Drew Holiday. That's great to hear, but he's not been in training.
I
wrote it last week, and it's a 1-year thing, and they got to get it done. I think it's that critical because you'd lose a big piece, and we're losing you for like a decade.
Come back.
No, I would never do that to you.
He'll do.
If Duncan put it here.
Oh boy, Pete Tham, I want to thank you. Ron Higgins, Sean Kelly, Jeff Duncan. Jeff Duncan will be back here tomorrow, so we'll be back here too. Sports 1280 NOLA.com.
Hi, I'm Kelly Clarkson, and I've toured the country dozens of times.
Hi, Dave.